Okay. This is kind of a fun one, you know? All right. So, Kotaku, bastion of video game journalism. And I mean that both somewhat ironically and also legitimately. I know some people who work there, and actually they're really good at reporting. But Luke Plunkett at Kotaku, managed to get his hands on a report that, kind of talking about what Warner Brothers president said about J.K. Rowling and the right to hold her opinions. Now, if any of you have had your ear to the ground about video game stuff, you will understand that Hogwarts Legacy is like the first really, really big AAA attempt at making a Harry Potter video game, or a video game set in the Harry Potter universe. Like there are tons of like movie adaptations that were range from like playable to really bad. And here we have Hogwarts Legacy, which is aiming to be kind of like this epic, encompassing adventure, right? Made by Warner Brothers Games, sorry, rather published by Warner Brothers Games. And Jason Schreier managed to obtain information from a company Q&A in which Warner Brothers Games president David Haddad was giving a talk to employees because turns out when you announce a game based on Harry Potter, like a week at not even a week, a few days after the creator of Harry Potter has a very public meltdown about trans people and just showing her entire ass about transphobia and subsequently releasing a book in which the villain is like a comic caricature of a violent trans woman. Um, Turns out people aren't happy about that, and the flack that the studio has gotten and the publisher has gotten has been overwhelming. And in fact, like the stars of Harry Potter have all been coming out, and also the have all been coming out to kind of denounce J.K. Rowling's blatant transphobia. So the uh, uh, I lost the thread. I lost the thread. I lost the thread. There we go. Have basically been clamoring their leadership to get more clarity about where the company stands and kind of what's going on. And I think so. First of all, J.K. Rowling is reportedly not involved in the development of Hogwarts Legacy at all. Um, and the other aspect is David Haddad's statement itself, which is incredibly weak, just shockingly weak. So let's take a look at it here. Not a lot I can comment on other than since we did get so many questions, I wanted to be responsive the best way I could. The way I think I'd like to do it is I'd like to echo something you've heard from our most senior executive leadership. While J.K. Rowling is the creator of Harry Potter, and we are bringing that to life with the power of Portkey, in many places she's a private citizen also. And that means she's entitled to express her personal opinion on social media. I may not agree with her, and I might not agree with her stance on a range of topics, but I can agree that she has the right to hold her opinions. So, let's see. Basically, what we have here in the statement, and a lot of people have pointed this out, is that David Haddad is saying, I don't agree with her. And, well, sorry, he's not even saying that. He's saying, I might not agree with her. Uh, and I might not agree with her on a number of things. Notice, though, that he's not completely uh, saying he disagrees. This is very weak language and very weak non-committal language. Okay? And on top of that, he can't even say what he disagrees with. He cannot be specific. It's just such a weak response that it's kind of shocking. Like, guys, imagine if J.K. Rowling, instead of being a transphobe, was just a an extremely blatant racist and like was throwing around the N word and like was talking about how like blacks are inferior or something like that. And imagine if she was doing that, and then she made the villain of her latest novel like a black minstrel show caricature that was like eating watermelons and like doing jazz dances to kill people or something. Like it would be shocking, and I'm pretty sure it would receive specific and strong condemnation, even in boardrooms. But I think what this shows us is that I think that what this shows us is that for trans people and trans rights, we have not quite gotten through 100% into the public consciousness yet. It is still safe and viewed as acceptable to hedge your bets around transphobia in a way that it is not around racism. Right now, it's really easy for companies to condemn racism and like white supremacy, which is why the question during the last debate towards President Trump was intended as a softball question that he could knock out of the park. He's just so racist and stupid that he wasn't able to take it. However, in the case of like a company boardroom, uh, company executives are very much aware of how easy it is to just be like, yeah, I don't support white supremacy. Like, obviously that's bad. I condemn it in no uncertain terms, right? Like, Papa John is an incredibly wealthy and influential man. He lost his job, his entire job, leading the company that bears his name, for being explicitly racist on an investor share meeting call. So like that sort of explicit bigotry carries a lot of weight when it comes to race. But what we're seeing here is that the same weight is not given to transphobia, at least not yet. So that means we still have a long way to go when it comes to this specific topic. Um, and I think, in a way, it's a little disheartening. It's clearly leaning in a positive direction. We are making progress. It's just not there yet. So we have that, and then we have the question of whether or not you should buy Hogwarts Legacy. And I know that if you are in gaming circles online, a lot of people are kind of saying, oh, if you buy it, you're selling out trans people, you're being transphobic because like J.K. Rowling like benefits from this product. And I just want to say that like I think that at this point J.K. Rowling is so rich that it practically does not matter. And the other aspect that I want to hit on is that under capitalism, there's no ethical consumption. Like the saying like there's no ethical consumption under capitalism. Like that's a really common thing for lefties to say. Um, it's true. Like if you buy like a candy bar, you're funding child slave labor probably somewhere in the world. Like most of our purchases, a lot of our purchases are funding awful people who would literally enslave you if they could and if it profited them. So, like the harm that is done by just participating in capitalism is both unavoidable and very depressing, but that's why we should take this knowledge that we learn that about how our transactions benefit individuals who mean us harm, and who mean to exploit us as much as possible. We should learn from that and use the energy we get from that to push for a better system, one that is not exploitative, one where workers have democratic control of the workplace, and where we can, distribute resources equitably. Um, I think both of those things would get us to a better world. So that, and also, that's not to say that you shouldn't attempt to be as ethical in your purchasing decisions as possible, but it is to say that no matter how ethical your purchase decisions are, um, you have a limited range of information and a limited ability to acquire information. And like, you kind of have to accept that at a certain point, many of your purchases are either directly or indirectly benefiting people, who are accumulating wealth to coerce you into labor that further indebts you and further erodes you as a human being. So we have to work towards a better world where that system gets broken more and more, and we can replace it with something better. Uh, so I don't think it's evil if you buy the Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy game. Okay, if it makes you uncomfortable, don't buy it. I totally understand why it would. I also think that it is it's as fine as buying like meat or something. It's fine. I'm not going to be personally upset about it. Maybe evaluate how upset your personal circle is going to be about it, but um, I think the larger struggle isn't against one specific commodity. It is against the entire system, in which workers have no power over their working environment, and labor is extracted, or value is extracted from labor, in a way that is inequitable. So, boom. We just talked about J.K. Rowling and capitalism. I feel like this was a good segment. Okay. Success. Indeed, Skipperella. Indeed. Let's see. Crockett. I mean, it's unavoidable, but you can still minimize it. Like, if I have the choice to buy from Walmart or a worker co-op, I'm going to choose the worker co-op 10 out of 10 times. True. As someone who is on Twitch, I do not believe I can advocate for piracy, friend. But you know what? Live your best life, okay? So, and also, I am gonna say that, like, a lot of worker co-ops, specifically like worker co-op grocers. While in general I support worker co-op models, I've learned that there are a number of worker co-ops that do not actually represent the best interests of their workers. They are instead owned by like a board of directors, that is like invested in the community in a strange way. It's complicated, but sometimes worker co-ops aren't actually worker co-ops in the sense that workers have a say in their labor conditions or their pay. It gets messy. So, as far as worker co-ops go, I think you also need to look into like the structure of the worker co-op in order to determine like the ethics of the organization, and that also doesn't account for the products that a worker co-op might sell. So, yeah, again, it takes a lot of research to get through all this stuff, and like, sometimes the packaging of certain things doesn't get listed in the production because it's outsourced to a third party. or like all these other aspects. So um, I feel like asking every consumer to kind of educate themselves on every aspect of this is a really big ask when we can't even get like your average person to go to the polls, you know, like something that's really easy and takes a very low amount of effort. Um, so, well, I'm glad you guys are liking it. I didn't really intend to have a super politics heavy stream, but you know, we've been going for how long now? Um, do, 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 do. Like almost 2 hours. Dang. No wonder my throat is dry. Um, Guys, I am going to go get water and I'm going to drink it. I suggest all of you go get water too because you're all uniformly dehydrated husks 99% of the time. And when I get back, we'll do some more stream squad. And later, if I feel like it, we'll do a couple more segments. Okay, sound good? It and Crockett, that's true. I don't want to feel like I'm saying harm minimization doesn't matter, because it does. Just saying that like there are some bigger fights. Like how do I phrase this? Like there are there are maybe more efficient ways to use our energy than trying to convince people that spending a few hours educating themselves is worth their time, especially if like they're working folk. Um, and I feel like a lot of the time our time is better spent like saying like, hey, you can vote for blah on your ballot, and like blah on the ballot is going to instead of like asking for that person to do hours of research, blah on the ballot can help pass like a city ordinance that mandates more ethical um, like products be on the shelf or whatever. Um, like I think there are more efficient ways of doing this, but I also don't think that you know advocating simple harm minimization is bad. Like saying, "Hey, buy this chocolate. It was guaranteed to not have been made with slave labor, so that's good." Like I don't think that's bad either. So